Assalamu alaikum warahmatullahi wabarakatuh. My name is MUJEEB Hussain and you are now watching my YouTube channel and my Facebook page. Today we are going to discuss medical terminologies. In this lesson, I am going to be talking to you guys about medical terminology. Medical terminology is like learning a different language, and it pretty much is like a different language, but there are many easy ways to break the word apart in two different pieces to make it much easier to comprehend. This first thing I want to talk to you guys is just breaking it down. So, in a medical term, each word has a beginning, a middle, and an end. The beginning is known as the prefix, and this is typically a descriptive part of the word or a description that tells you what the number or the amount is, the size, location, color, etc. The middle of the word is known as the root, and that's kind of like the subject of the word. It usually relates to a part of the body, and the ending of the word is called the suffix, or what I like to call the condition of the word, which kind of details the process and procedures but can also tells you about the amount, the location or other things as well. So just to kind of give you guys a brief background about certain prefixes that are commonly used. One of the first ones you probably heard of is macro. Macro just means large, and it typically is used in the context of that it is visible to the naked eye. So you might have heard of macroscopic, and the opposite of that is micro, which just means small or not visible to the naked eyes. And the way I like to remember this is that I think of a microscope. So some things in the world are microscopic and other things in the world are like galaxies in our observable universe. They are macroscopic. Some other words are about amount and size. One is hyper. Hyper just means high. And the other is hypo. The opposite of hyper would be hypo. That means just low, below normal or decreased. So a couple other prefixes are, one is u or normo, and that is just means that is normal or the condition is normal. Another prefix would be a or an, which just mean absence or lacking. The prefix megalo also means large or larger than average. Some numerical prefixes. This one is pretty easy. Mono, which just means single or singular. Di means two or double. Tri, three or triple. Quad for four or quadruple. Poly is many or a lot, and oligo is kind of a blanket term that just means there are just a few, several, or very little. So for the prefixes related with speed, we have tachy, which means rapid or fast, and brady or breaky, which means slow. And so for these terms, you kind of typically think of the heart. You can have tachycardia or brachycardia. So they are just different terms to describe the speed of the heart rate. So for a different location for prefixes, we have got epi, peri, or circum, and these all just mean around the location or around the object. So you can just think of perimeter, circumference, and with epicenter you are kind of around the center. Now the other one is endo or intra. They mean pretty much the same thing. They just means inside, inner, or interior. So for these ones you can think of intracellular or endocrines, for example. The opposite of these ones are exo and extra. So they just mean outside or outer or exterior. So we can think of exocytosis or the extracellular environment. And a term that a lot of students got confused with is inter. So you can see that intra and inter are very similar. So the difference is that inter means between. So for example, like the intracellular environment versus the intercellular environment, they are different meanings. So just be aware of that, guys. Now with this one, you can think of transmembrane or transatlantic. It just means across. The other one is dia or per. So that just means through or complete. So with dia, you can think of diameter, and with per, you can think of perforate. It's something that goes through, so it just means going through something. The other one is medi or media, which just means in the middle. The next one is para, which means nearby. So the next one is dis, which means to separate. So just think of displace. You're kind of separating something out of separating things. The next group of prefixes I want to talk to you guys about is color. So the prefix of color is actually chromo or chromato. Leuco, that means white. The next one is erythro. Erythro means red, cyano is blue, chloro green, Milan or Milano is black. And the last one is one that you are very rarely or ever hear, which is flav, which means yellow. Leuco for white, leukocytes, red blood cells are erythrocyte. Cyanide is a word that you think of, you become hypoxic and kind of become blue, cyanosis. Another one is chloro. Think of chlorophyll plants that make them look green. So this is just some easy ways to remember. Now getting into the body itself, just some general terms. One is homeo, which just means body. Cephalo is head. Cerv or cervical refers to the neck. Thoraco or thorax is the chest. Abdomino is the abdomen or abdominal. Pelvo or pelvi is just pelvic or just related to pelvis. Peritone is just related to the peritoneum, so the lining within your abdomen. Derm, which means skin, or more significantly dermis. And neuro for nerve, and hemo for blood. Arterio or angio for arteries. So for arterio angio, you might have heard of angioplasty or angiograms. They all have to do with arteries. The next one is veno or vena, which is just the venous system or veins. You may have heard of the inferior or superior vena cava. So that's a way to remember them. Vasculo just means vascular. So your vascular system, musculo for muscle, and also the related term sarco for muscle. So you might have heard of myocardium or sarcoplasmic reticulum. They all deal with the muscle or muscle cells. Two related ones are also skeleton in musculoskeletal system and osteo, which means bone. So they both are related into bones. Another one is cyto for cells, and the other related term is the suffixes site, which means cells or cellular. So the next organs I am going to get into are the neck and the thoracic organs. So starting with your thyroid, for thyro is the prefix for that one. Tracheo for trachea, esophago or esophagio for esophagus. Thymo for thymus, which is an immune system organ that's relatively close to your heart. Musto or memo, which is related to the mammary gland or the breast. Pulmo or pneumo for the lungs. Cardio for the heart. The next organ I am going to get into are the abdominal organs. So gastro for the stomach, hepato for the liver. So you may have heard of hepatitis or hepatocytes. So they all relate to the liver. One that you may not have heard of is cholecysto, and that's for the gallbladder. So you might not have heard of, but it may be called cholecystectomy when you remove your gallbladder, or cholecystokinin, which controls gallbladder contraction. Another one is spleno, means spleen. Another one is pancreato for the pancreas. Another one is adreno for the adrenal gland, the gland that sits on the top of your kidneys. And you might not have heard of this one. Nephro for your kidney. So you can think of nephrologist, a kidney specialist. Nephro actually comes from and is derived from the nephron, or the functional unit within the kidney. Entero is used for the intestine. So you might have heard of enteritis, an inflammation of your intestines. Another one is colo, which refers to the colon or large intestine. So you might have heard of colitis, an inflammation of the colon. So here are some common suffixes in medical terminology. Ology means the study of, like biology, the study of life. Nephrology, the study of kidney. Gastroenterology, the study of gastrointestinal system. And the list can go on and on. It just means the study of a particular subject. The next one is philia, which means the love of. And the opposite of philia is phobia, which is just the fear of. So that's an easy one. Most people know that phobia is a fear of something. Another one that people don't think of is a tension. Tension means pressure. So hypertension, high blood pressure. So tension just means pressure, and the suffix xia, it is kind of hard to say this, but things like hypoxia. Zia is oxygen, condition of oxygen, and it has to do with oxygen. Hypoxia is low oxygen. Another gas that we want to be aware of is carbon dioxide, and this is the suffix capnia. So you can think of hypercapnia, high carbon dioxide level. So the next one is apnea. This is another hard one to say. That just means air. So it's related to the pneumonia. It's spelled this kind of the same way with the P, and you have that PN there. So it's an odd spelling. So it's nia. So you might have heard of dyspnea or hyperpnea. Different things like that have to do with air or breathing. And other one is very common. It's A's at the end of a word, and that usually means enzyme. Anyways guys, that was medical terminology lesson 1, and the next lesson I'm going to be talking with you is guys about different suffixes that describe different diseases, states and processes. And that what we are going to do is we are going to take everything that we have learned and we are going to work through some practice problems in the next lessons. So anyways guys, I hope you found this video helpful. If you did, please like and subscribe. That would be greatly appreciated. And thank you so much for watching, and have a great day. Thank you. Allah Hafiz.